Good day, hey? How's everybody doing? Well, everybody's just getting situated here. Why don't you just introduce yourselves and let me know where you're watching from today? I guess I can take that off the screen. I'm scrolling on the bottom right now. There we go. There we go. I'll just add that there. And I think I'm ready to go here. Okay. One minute. I'm just having a technical difficulty, so I'm just going to remove myself for a second. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, today's pie day. Any of you have pie today? In Prince Edward Island here, we have this great little business. It's called the Hand Pie Company, and I enjoyed a very late lunch or slightly early supper tonight before I started the. Well, I was getting ready for the stream. Well, actually, before then even, and it was a really good bacon cheeseburger hand pie. If you're in PI, it's not far off the bridge. It's worth going. It's a great little business. Yeah, I love pie. So you'll notice I have a poll up there, and that's the argument is it's a debate I've had with people that is pie actually just liquid cake. I kind of think in a way it is. I also think like a muffin is a cake. A cupcake is obviously a cake. It's just a really small cake. But I think a muffin, no matter how you try to, you can call it a carrot muffin. You can call it a blueberry muffin, blueberry bran muffin. It's just a cake. It's just a small little cake. Don't try to be all fancy and hide it. It's cake. And pie, well, I love pie, but I think it's liquid cake. It's, or at least cake in not its most solid form. So yeah, just let me know where you're watching from, if you're coming in. And so far, 100% of the people don't think I guess there's only a couple one vote in there. So that's one person thought that pie is not liquid cake. I mean, really think about it. It's there. It's got all the ingredients that you would have in cake. And I'm realizing that, yeah, there. So yeah, that's all the ingredients you would normally have in cake. So yeah, I think it's liquid cake. I don't know. That's just me. Notice something here though. Everything's reversed. It's not usually reversed when I do these. So let me check one thing. On my properties here. Okay. Not sure what's going on. Let's see. Just 1 second here. Okay. No, I'm just trying to see why. Because everything in behind me I know is reversed, because easy way to test it is you can't read this probably because it's backwards. Usually my camera doesn't do that. Okay, so how's everybody doing today? So today I'm going to be looking after your question, looking at well, I have one specific question I'm going to answer from a viewer on all my videos. If you caught the trailer there, if you didn't, because you can, well, we're actually live. In all my videos, I put a form for people to ask a question that I answer here. And so I'm going to look at today. I have a question that I'm going to answer. Just 1 second. And then here I'm going to and I don't know if you guys saw my little tongue-in-cheek short I did yesterday about Donald Trump and his German heritage. I'll talk about that a little later. Anyways, this is the question. This is Lana. I'm going to read a little more detail into her question, but this is basically the question she asked. She gave a little bit more information. She has a Samuel Stanfield. He married Jane Andrew on November 1711, and her main question was, and so they married in County Armagh, Ulster, and then she said this one here, a second here, and he appears in men's meeting minutes a few times before starting in the third month of 1709. He was the Rolf members of the Lugan meeting, the Society of Friends, or the Quakers. So she was just looking for some information. It said that Samuel and Jane immigrated to Pennsylvania in 1730. She gives a few other facts, and basically she was just wondering about whether there's records of migration into Ireland and England and Scotland. Really wasn't anything specific, especially in that time period. If you're lucky, you might find them on a list, ship's list somewhere. But honestly, going back England and Scotland to Ireland, they're all part of the same country, so there's no type of immigration that's happening there, especially if it happened after the Act of Union. So yeah, you're not going to get anything like that type of immigration record. You are going to get like, if you can find a specific shipping passengers list, you might find something, but it's not as likely. The only time really that you might find something, if one of them happened to, if Samuel happened to be in the military and was moving from one place to other, you might find some sort of specific government record as far as that, but nothing in the way that we would think of as migration records. Actually, I just got another question popped in from Vicky. Yeah, she asked a question about home children in Canada. So just 1 second, I'll put her question there. So this is the question you asked, Vicky. It's actually a really good one. Just 1 second here. The home children. She asked a question about home children in Canada. So So if you don't know about the home children, the home children are basically children that they took, and that they were from England. They were generally from poor families, or they were orphans, and they relocated them to Canadian homes, often to work on the farms, or in a family's business. So she was just looking for, I'm assuming that's the home children you're talking about. There's also sometimes the home children that are referred to in the in the in the World War II aspect, the children that came from there. But considering your question there, so let's just, I'm going to remove this one, and it's going to, so I'm going to ask you a question there, what it is specifically. So this is Vicky's question. How would I track relatives in Canada who were shipped there from the UK? Because I think it's more strict. Yeah, there are some specific genealogists and groups that actually look into the home children. One definite way is you're looking for, if you have any DNA matches, is always the best. That might be able to lead you into the right direction. So I'm taking, you mean you have family in England, where you're from, that there was relatives that had been shipped here, and you're just trying to see where they are. What do you know, if you do know anything, do you know the actual time frame dates? Just one second. Or where they were going. So because there's a couple places you can one second here. They just moved the site because the no. Okay. So again, I'm going to post something here in the chat, and this is a link to the Canadian Archives Canada. This is their records. I don't know if you've looked at that, for their records of home children. So I'm just going to post that in the chat. Now this here actually lets you go in, and you can there's a few different resources there. Let's see here, and that's the one where you can look up actual home children, specific home children. This is the boards of guardians. So these are different guardians. So the second one here, I'm going to post now. Yeah, these can definitely help you. There are, again, depending when they came, you'll have better luck. Some of the early ones, it might be lost on the families that they came from home children, because I'm sure there's plenty of people who do not realize that's actually their roots, of especially people who don't dig into it. They might just know great great grandma came from England or Scotland or Northern Ireland, whatever she came from, but not know why. Just assume they had immigrated here. But there are definitely some different groups that those two sites are the best ones that, as far as government records, there is pretty extensive. Most again, government records, often there's rules when things can be released and who they can be released to. And the other option that's really good, if you happen to know their name and you know they had died, usually within the last, with more than roughly 50 years ago, I think it's most provinces sort of the cutoff, and you know what province, you can search the public death records that there might be. Often those can be quite good, depending on the province of giving you details that were reported. So that would actually be one thing you might look for, and you'd probably be looking at that point, looking to see if the informant was the informant's name, to see if they were a son, daughter, son-in-law. So then you can start looking for some records from there as well. I hope that helps you. I don't know if anybody has any other specific questions, and yeah, I am planning on making a video about the home children at some point. There's a couple of videos that are in my list of planning. I've been doing a few of them, and these are ones as I'm trying to build up sort of a little bit of a database of basic information for people as well. And I just realized in that form I have a typo, so let me just see. I thought I had fixed that previously, but there we go. Perfect. I updated that. Yeah, so definitely, if you can look in those two places. Again, with the specific, the more specifics you might be able to find out a little more. And again, the records, it depends on the province what other records they have available and when they are. I have if you look on, I don't know if I include it in this one here, the description, but I do actually have a resource guide that I'm working on. No, it's not in this video, but I have it on a lot of my videos. There's a resource guide for Canadian genealogy that gives a few different sources. No problem. It's actually something I really would like to dig in a little more to myself, because it's actually really it's a really interesting period, and it's definitely questionable about some of the practices back then, on both the British government and the Canadian government. I know that probably the thought was that they're hopefully giving these people an opportunity, but there wasn't as much background checking and stuff back then as there is now. A lot of it was done through the Anglican Church, so I'm not sure on the processes for the guardians, if they like how they decided who can be, and they actually get checked by the church, where they had to be church members, that people in the community that knew them. So yeah, it's a really interesting, excuse me, really interesting thing to that was done. Uh, it's one of those things they never get away with something like that today. Um, and um, the the aspect of the World War II, I guess the they didn't really use that word home children. Oh yeah, the other places, peer, if they came in between um, after 1928, if they're part of the later group, you might find something by contacting Pier 21 and looking at some of their records. They might have Pier 21 is basically the Canadian Museum of Immigration. It's in Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's at the, for lack of a better term, Canada's Ellis Island. If I say that, most people understand. Excuse me. What I mean. So they there would have been some some records there if they came in through immigration, even when it was after 1928. Actually, anything after 1867, there should hopefully be some type of Canadian immigration record. Before that, coming from England, there was none. Let me see. Yeah, it was I was mixing up it's the guest children, they called them, from World War II. There was about 1,500 of them arrived, and that was basically because they were evacuating them from Great Britain. And quite a few interesting stories there. Let me see. Yeah, they some places they do call them the British home children as well, on Veterans Affairs. Let me see. Here's a one. Here's another place. It has some other. It's under Veterans Affairs Canada, but I know this is probably some of the stories, and it relates to the guest children more. But I'll post that link there for you as well. So yeah, that's honestly probably more about the guest children. They called them home children, but it's a little confusing. The home children were basically sent over here permanently. The guest children, they were here because they were being temporarily evacuated. There are some that probably did wind up staying here permanently, just because one of two things: they were older when they were evacuated and they wound up meeting a spouse here, or it could be that something happened to their family in England in the intervening years, and they weren't able to go back. And some might, again, if they were older, might have just decided to stay because they had sort of a life in Canada at that point. Two really kind of interesting periods and things in Canadian history. So yeah, the early 1900s, that would be they're not going to be part of that war group if it's not during the World War II years. And so and the fact that you said they're still over here, they were sent here and never returned, that would definitely tell me that you're talking more of the actual home children as opposed to the guest children. But on the Veterans Affairs site, it has some interesting things, just some really good summaries and talking about things. And it talks about some specific home children that were in the war, in World War I as well, and World War II. So let me see. Yeah, they figured there was 100,000 young boys and girls that immigrated to our country through the home children. Ooh, didn't realize that it was that high. I thought it was in the 30s or 40,000, but so between 1869 and 1948, yeah, they figure roughly 100,000. So that's a good chunk. Okay, so is there anybody else have any questions they need answered or things they're looking to talk about my little video I did there earlier this week? Let me see here if I can share it. I think I can share it this way. It's a little tongue-in-cheek. It was a short, and so I'm just gonna. It's loading now, so this isn't on the actual YouTube site. This is just the actual raw video before I uploaded it, so it's taking a minute to think if it wants to load it. If not, we'll talk about it. Don't know if you're not in Canada, the United States, you might not realize we're in the midst of a war with the United States, a trade war, a lot of back and forth bantering because, you know, a lot of people in Canada blame Donald Trump, but I actually blame it on our weak leaders because we haven't done enough to insulate ourselves that we become so dependent on exports and that market, especially to the United States, not producing our own products. We in Canada we're the greatest probably resource provider in the world, and as far as countries, we have, you name it, we have it, from wood to petroleum to ice. Yes, we do export ice. We actually, there's a company that will export parts of icebergs, and they'll send it to companies buy it to make iceberg water. But we don't do a lot of manufacturing and production in Canada anymore. So we sort of send our raw goods to elsewhere. In the case of our petroleum products, we closed down most of the refineries in Canada, and we send it to the United States so they can refine it and then sell it to Europe. Can-do nuclear reactors invented by Canadians and maintained around the world by Canadians. We actually have very few in Canada, actually, nuclear power, though we're at the forefront and leading that industry, just because of our own foolishness of our country. So it's still uploading that video. Why is it taking so long? Okay. It won't. We have to turn the switch here for something. Okay. Yeah, it's still trying to upload that video. Probably doesn't know what to do with it because of the format. Anyways, you saw the video. It was talking a little bit about Donald Trump. His grandfather was from Germany. Interesting story. His mother's from Scotland, from the Isle of Lewis specifically. She is from a place on the Isle of Lewis that is called, oh, I should know this. It's the same name as our official opposition leader's residence. Stornoway, that's it. Stornoway, my minister, his wife's from the Ovalu, so it's quite a small place. And I know when he was first sworn in, he was actually used a Bible from his mother's church there. Okay, so that video is not going to play, so it's processing it still. So I'm not going to. It's just a little tongue-in-cheek warning Trump that he's got to be careful, basically, about going to war with Canadians. History buffs may or may not know that some of the reasons we have the Geneva Convention, they say, is because of Canadians in World War One. There's one YouTuber I watch, he's quite amusing. He does different skits about military things, and he represents Canada, and he's often, when he talks as the Canadian, he's always, anxious to go to war and wanting to know about the Geneva checklist. Okay, so let's just see. I'll play that video and see what that does, if it shows and how it works. We play to win, which is just like I said, the Geneva Conventions, a lot of those rules were made up because of things Canadians did in World War One. The corned beef there was so this is during World War One in trench warfare. Canada was actually, they were ruthless, and especially at night doing trench raids. And like I said, they had a policy basically not to take prisoners. That was another mouth to feed, and for your troops when they're starving. Thinking of, having to share your limited rations with the enemy was probably not a popular thing. And plus, there's a few other things that made their distaste for the Germans a little high during that. But there was one report of one time Canadians, they started throwing cans of corned beef to the Germans. So the Germans thought they were sharing food, so they were happy, and they kept yelling more and more, and then the Canadians then bombarded the trenches with grenades. So that's the way that went. So it's just as a little tongue in cheek, just warning: be careful what you wish for when you go picking a fight with the Canadians. Anyways, that's it. If there's no more questions, I'm going to do what I always do, is I always call my last call. So because this is called the How We Got Here Genealogy Happy Hour. I'm drinking out of my Genealogy cup. It's water today. And so let's ring the bell. Oh, that's not the bell. That's the bell. And let's go to... Last call!
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I need to announce it's last call at the bar. Oh.
So if there's any questions that didn't get answered, you want answered, you can ask them now. And as I get ready to sign off, I'll give it a few minutes. Okay. And let me just see if any more questions came into my sheet. No new questions there. So I'll mark these two as answered. I hope I answered your question good enough for you, Vicky. There. If you have anything more you want to know, yeah, just you can. I'll reach out to you and send me an email after this, and you can reply to that. And Lana, if you're watching this on the replay, I'll send you an email too, and we can get a little more into a little specifics of your question. But again, just generally, there isn't really those migration records. Oh, why? You asked why that might be recorded. It could be a number of reasons. It could be just that that was like you said, he became of age, so to speak, or just that's when he actually started speaking up. He might have been at previous meetings, but had nothing to say. But I think it's probably more that he either relocated to a new location, or he became of age, or maybe he had become a member there. I'm not sure what the Quakers' policies were as far as who could attend their meetings. But in my experience, yeah, when you're looking, I know in other churches, when you're looking at church records, when you start finding people mentioned in minutes, it's or speaking at minutes and meetings, depending on the church, it's usually because they've become of age or active participants in the day-to-day activities of the church somehow. Okay, so again, if there's no further questions, I'm gonna head out. Seeing a couple new people join us here, so that's great. If you're watching us on repeat, in the comments, just put in the team repeat. And you all have a great day. I really want to encourage you to keep searching for your ancestors. I have a video coming out tomorrow, and it's a little bit about Canada, U.S. It's basically a brief history of Canada and U.S. relations, taking from the aspect that we're very intertwined, and there's actually a lot of family relationships that go back and forth. I know I have loads of American cousins from both sides of the family, and most people I know that have been in Canada families been in Canada for any length of time. I'm saying pre-World War One, pre-World War II even, probably have American cousins, and have that contact that went back and forth there. So okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. You have a great day and keep searching for your ancestors. And until we meet again, have a great day.